This is the Panasonic GF3. This camera was released by Panasonic in 2011. This camera shoots 12 megapixel RAW photos. This has a micro 4/3 CMOS sensor, so this has a 2 times crop factor, which is the highest crop factor out of all of these. Of course, the smallest sensor with a micro 4/3 sensor in here. However, it does have a micro 4/3 lens mount, which is similar to the E-mount. So it's a mirrorless camera, which makes it obviously a lot smaller and means you can adapt a bunch of different types of lenses to this camera. This camera has a 3-inch fixed touchscreen on the back, so you can actually use this touchscreen to, adjust some settings, go through the menu, stuff like that, which is nice. However, it's not super responsive and it's a little weird to use the touchscreen to get through stuff. However, it's still there if you need it, but it is just a fixed screen, so you can't rotate it, adjust it, anything like that. This camera shoots up to 3 photos per second in continuous shooting mode, and it does shoot 1080p video up to 30 frames per second. So overall, this actually does shoot the highest resolution and frame rate combination out of all of these cameras. However, again, I really can't recommend buying any of these cameras specifically for video. I think if you do want to get into video, something closer to a $200 budget would be the bare minimum to get decent looking video. This camera also has a built-in flash and it weighs 264 grams. When it comes to the body, build quality, everything of this, also very, very simple, just like this Sony NEX camera actually. There's pretty much a dial and a few buttons on the back here, a few buttons on top, and that is pretty much it for buttons on this. On the right side, you have an HDMI output, and it actually looks like there's a mini and a micro HDMI, which is pretty neat, pretty unique to have 2 different HDMI outputs. And then on the left side, there's literally nothing. So those are the only outputs on this camera. On the bottom, you of course have your battery slot and SD card slot. It's both in the same slot, so no side SD cards, sadly. And besides that, this is of course tiny. There's barely any grip to this, just a little nub there. All your fingers pretty much hang off the bottom. Overall, it's an absolutely tiny camera, just like the Sony, so it's not the best to hold and use. However, it can fit in your hand, it can fit in your pocket without a lens. So depending on your situation, this might be a good thing, but it's really not the best camera to hold and actually use. So that wraps this video up. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.